It's your girl again, the Black Mathematician, coming to you today, actually with some geometry. What we're going to do is learn how to find a missing angle of a triangle when there's two missing angles. And so let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, let's draw a triangle, shall we? We're gonna make it a right triangle. And this is not drawn to scale. I'm just gonna put some numbers in here. Let's see, 15. I'm gonna make this one 10. And you wanna find what this angle is, theta. Now, if you have some prior knowledge, you know that the sum of all these angles equal 180 degrees. Well, you can't just, subtract or like add this angle with this angle because you're missing this one, and vice versa. You need at least one more angle to try to find these two angles, if I'm making sense. Okay. So a trick that we can use is to use sine, cosine, or tangent, right? And you might have heard of SOH CAH TOA. SOH CAH TOA. SOH CAH TOA. It looks like gibberish, but it all rhymes and it helps you to remember, because these are all acronyms, right? So this is the acronym for sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. And for those who don't know, the long line right here, this is our hypotenuse. CAH stands for cosine. Cosine of theta, or really any angle, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And for those of you that don't know what adjacent means, adjacent just means right next to. So in this case, opposite will be this, adjacent will be this, 10. We don't know what the opposite side is, but we don't really need it. And then TOA equals, TOA equals tangent of theta equals opposite over adjacent. Hope you'll be able to see that. And I'll just go ahead and make everything bigger. I'm not sure if I really made that bigger. What I have right here, 15. I had 10 here. And we don't know what theta is, but we want to find theta. Okay. So we want to find theta. But how are we going to do that? Well, let's see. What do we know? There's the opposite side of theta, but we don't know what that is. There's adjacent. Okay, adjacent of theta. That was like an adjective, but it's adjacent. Make it bigger. That equals 10. And the hypotenuse is 15. Well, from SOH CAH TOA, what can we use? Well, we have adjacent and we have hypotenuse, so we use this. Okay, so I'll do the formula again. So, cosine of theta equals adjacent. Which one is next to the theta that's not the hypotenuse? 10. So equals 10 over 15. Okay. Now we're a little bit stuck. We want to get theta by itself. Well, the opposite of cosine is arcsine, or arc cosine. So, to get theta by itself, we'll just take the arc cosine which looks like this, of 10 over 15. Now, I don't know this on top of my head. We're gonna need a calculator. So let me grab that real quick. Okay, so you don't need a graphing calculator. Right now, this is a TI-30. I think these are the most basic ones that does trig functions. So you don't need a graphing. Financial ones won't do it for you. You need a TI-30 scientific calculator. Okay, so to get this in the calculator, there's a little second button. Come closer. There's a second button you'll hit so that we can take the inverse of these trig functions. Excuse my nails. So the second button is hit, taking the inverse of cosine. And you'll know you hit the right button if this -1 comes up. And then you can reduce it, have it in decimal form, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. So 10 over 15. Okay, and then you just hit enter. And I got 48.18. I'm just gonna round and do 48 degrees. So theta equals 48 degrees. Okay, so we can erase that and put in 48 degrees. Okay. Now to find this angle, I'm going to name it X. There's two methods. I'm going to do the easy method. I'm going to do the hard method first. Then I'll show you the easy way. You probably don't know what the easy way is, but I'm going to do the hard way first. Okay. Okay, so now we want to find X, which is up here. Okay, so again, we write out SOH CAH TOA. Excuse me. So now when we're referencing X, what's relevant to X? Okay, so now that we're doing X, this is now the adjacent side. We don't know what the adjacent side is. But with X, we see that the opposite side is 10. Hypotenuse doesn't change. Okay, so which one of these, which trig function only requires the opposite side and the hypotenuse side? Look at our acronyms, SOH, CAH, TOH. Let's see, can it be TOA because because we don't have the opposite and adjacent. Can't be that. Can't be CAH, C-A-H. Because, again, we don't have the adjacent. We do have the opposite and the hypotenuse. So we'll use this. Okay, so again, it stands for sine opposite over hypotenuse. The opposite side of x is 10. The hypotenuse is 15. And now we're going to take the arc sine. We need the inverse of sine to get theta by itself. So for theta, we're going to take the arc sine of, sorry, it's kind of running over each other, 10 over 15. Right? Again, I can't do that in my head, so I have a handy dandy calculator. I'm going to clear out the last. Again, we're going to hit this second button so we can get like the extra functions. We're going to hit sine because we want the inverse of sine. And you'll know it's correct because you'll see that -1. Again, you can reduce it. You can put in decimal form. I'm just going to go ahead and type 10 over 15, parentheses, and hit enter. All right, we got 41.2. Now I'm gonna round up to 42. Oh, here we've been using theta. We should have been using x because we're trying to find x. It's really important to keep your variables consistent. First we were trying to find theta, and now we're trying to find x. So x equals 42 degrees. All right, just go ahead and replace that. All right, 42 degrees. Now, that was the more complicated way to find that third missing angle. This is what you could have did. This is what I would have probably done if I was in your shoes. Unless otherwise specified by your teacher / professor. If their only, requirement was to find all 3 angles and that the method to finding all 3 angles, after I would have found this angle, this is what I would have done. Okay, so we know that every triangle is 180 degrees. And we know every right triangle has a 90-degree angle. Okay? So we know this right triangle is 90. We found that theta was 48 degrees. So together, that's 138 degrees. Boom. Now, knowing that all 3 of these triangles have to equal 138 degrees, my bad. All 3 angles have to equal 180 degrees. We already found that 2 of the angles added together is 138 degrees. Well, that must mean that the last one has to be 42. Or else it's not a triangle. So this was a simple way of doing it. Just take 180 minus the sum of the angle you found plus 90 degrees, because every right triangle is 90 degrees. But that's just a way to double check your math, making sure that you're understanding everything. We're gonna do one more example, this time using tangent. Okay. I swear, every generation gets it easier and easier. Back in my mama's day, they didn't have YouTube, okay? And back in my day, I had YouTube, but only professors were doing it, so they were teaching it the same dry way we would do it in school, and I was so confused. But now, everyone's doing it. Your peers, people older, younger, you get different perspectives and different platforms. I didn't have Chegg back in my day, but now I got Chegg. Anyway, so now we're going to use tangent. So I'm going to just draw a whole new triangle. triangle is not drawn to scale. We're going to want to find theta again. I'm going to make up some numbers. I'm feeling like 4, and I'm feeling like 6. We don't really need to know what the hypothesis is. We got 2 sides. This is a right triangle. We have one angle that we know. Well, just to remind you, we got SOH CAH TOA. All right, what do we know? What do we know? In reference to theta, our adjacent is 4. Our opposite is 6. Our hypothesis, we don't know what the hypothesis is. But thanks to this rule, the SOH CAH TOA rule, we don't need to know. Oops. So, looking at this chart, okay, let's see. We have the opposite, but we don't have the hypotenuse, so we can't use that. This one, we have the adjacent, but we don't have hypotenuse, can't use that. This one, we have the opposite and we have the adjacent, so we're going to use this one. Okay. So 10 of theta equals opposite over adjacent. Okay. If you have written down, we already have our opposite is 6 and our adjacent is 4. Now, we still need to get the theta by itself. So we're going to take the arctan. You can either spell out arctan. I'm going to spell it out this time. But this means the same thing too. Both mean the same thing. Okay, let's see. Let's find out. What is the arctan of 6/4? Or let's see, 1.5. Okay, cleared out the second button. Y'all, please do not drag me for my nails. I'm gonna get them done. The tangent button, so you get the tan, arctan. Tan's the -1 power. 6/4. Just gonna go ahead and do 6/4. Don't want to make any mistakes. Hit that enter button, and we get 56.3. I'm gonna round and just say 56. Theta equals 56 degrees. Okay. I'm gonna do a little shortcut. 56 plus 90 equals 146. There's 180 degrees in the triangle. We know that 2 of those added together is 146. This one should be 34 degrees. To double check, we're gonna pretend that we don't know it's 34 degrees, and we're gonna act like we're finding X. Well, since I'll make this into an X just so we can not have any confusion. But it should be 34 degrees. All right, well, now that we're doing this angle, things change. The opposite is now 4 and the adjacent is now 6. Okay, so let's see. Opposite 4, adjacent 6. We didn't change anything because we still don't have the hypotenuse. So we kind of just flipped it. We flipped sides, so we flipped the opposite and adjacent. Okay, hit the second button, hit tan 4/6. This is what you'll type in. Hit enter. Okay, 33.69. If you round it up, what is that? 34 degrees. We did it correctly. Yay, yay. Okay. So I hope finding angles is easier for you now. If you have any questions, comment below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. All right. Wish you good luck.